France in 1799 was a troubled place. The French Revolution, a time of big changes and fighting, had left the country split. The leaders, called the Directory, were corrupt and couldn't keep things under control.
It was during this scary and uncertain time that I took my chance. Born in Corsica, I climbed the ranks in the French army, showing I was a great soldier and very ambitious.
On November 9, 1799, Napoleon took over the government. This event, called the coup of 18 Brumaire, started Napoleon's rise to power. He made himself first consul, the big boss of France. Even though it was still called a republic, Napoleon was really in charge.
I was good at getting people on my side. I quickly made my power strong and brought order back to the country after all the fighting.
Napoleon did more than just fight wars. He had big ideas and lots of energy. He worked hard to change French society. His changes affected everything in France, from laws to schools.
One of my biggest accomplishments was the Napoleonic Code. It was a set of laws for everyone to follow. Before, every part of France had different laws. The Napoleonic Code said everyone was equal under the law. People could have any religion, and the government shouldn't be involved with religion.
This was a huge change that affected not just France, but other countries in Europe too. Napoleon also changed how French kids went to school.
I created lycées, which were public high schools for boys all across France. They all learned the same things. I also started the École Polytechnique, a special university for science and engineering. It's still a really important school in France today.
Napoleon was a brilliant general. He was great at planning battles, and his victories made him famous as one of history's best military leaders. One of his most famous wins was the Battle of Austerlitz on December 2nd, 1805.
The Battle of Austerlitz was a really important battle in the War of the Third Coalition. France was fighting a bunch of other countries, Austria, Russia, and Great Britain. They had a bigger army than us, and their generals were good too.
Even though he had fewer soldiers, Napoleon was smarter than the other generals. He knew what they would do and used it against them. The French won a huge victory, and Austria had to ask for peace. This win gave Napoleon control of Central Europe. Armies still study the Battle of Austerlitz today because it shows how smart Napoleon was and how brave his soldiers were. Even though Napoleon won a lot at first, he wanted too much. He kept wanting to conquer more land, and it caused him big problems. It started with the Peninsular War in Spain and ended with his disastrous invasion of Russia.
The Peninsular War started in 1808, when Napoleon tried to make his brother Joseph the King of Spain. We Spanish people didn't want that. We fought back with help from the British. It was a long and bloody war that wore down the French army.
In 1812, Napoleon tried to conquer Russia. His huge army, called the Grande Armée, marched into Russia in June. He wanted to defeat Tsar Alexander I.
But we had a plan. We didn't fight big battles. We burned everything as we retreated, so the French couldn't find food. We led them deeper and deeper into Russia. Then the terrible Russian winter came. The French were freezing, starving, and we kept attacking them.
The French retreat from Moscow was awful. Thousands of soldiers died from the cold, sickness, and hunger.